where this is leading to is there was a point at which I became a buyer. Now I was an executive at a big holding company, and one of my remits was to build a product for them, deliver it to our clients, an advertising product, an online advertising product. And that required that I had to buy technology from B2B companies. So now I'm a buyer with a budget. I'm a seller. I'm a marketer. And I'm being sold to 5 times a day by tech companies, bringing their salespeople in, viewing me as their buyer. I mean, I look at it now, I can see the whole thing so clearly. I mean, I can imagine these guys coming into the office. So we're meeting with the EVP of XYZ, and he has budget and he has decision-making power, all the stuff that salespeople would do. And, they come in, they try and do the assessment of my needs and ask me all the questions and show me the demo and all the stuff. This has happened 5 times a day. And I was blown away by what I learned from this process, being on the other side of it, because I was on that side of the table most of my career. And here I'm looking at these people, and I was probably the worst person to sell to for this reason. And so what I saw was something that I knew, but it really didn't formulate until at this point with this level of clarity. And that is that I noticed that the sales teams that came in had their own perspective on how to talk to clients, prospects, how to talk about the product that were frequently, if not always, different than the way their marketing materials were. It was sometimes amazing how disparate these two things were. So I would see the branding in the marketplace about this particular company. I would do my research on them, even the way, just on their website, where they talked about what they did or the solutions they solved. And then when the salespeople came in, many times it was not the same, in some cases almost different. And what had occurred to me was many times is, and this happens with most people who run businesses, is that when they start a company, they have an initial idea of how they want to talk to customers, but then it evolves because as they sell into the marketplace, they start to develop a different way to talk to customers, but they don't update their marketing materials to reflect that. And they let the salespeople do it. And this is a very big issue. It goes on today a lot. And what it does is it creates buyer confusion. And for me, what it created, not necessarily confusion, it was more like, hey, hold on a second. I thought you guys did this. Well, I didn't know that. But what it really did to me as a buyer was it created a lack of confidence. These people, it occurred to me like they don't have their act together. Like if they don't know what these two functions are doing, don't have an agreement or are not in alignment, which is a word we're using a lot. That said a lot to me about the company's maturity. To me, my attitude was, and still is, if you're going to go to market and sell products to customers, you need to have alignment between the way that you talk about things, because it sends a message to the marketplace if you don't. And it did to me. And so what started to happen a lot was I would see a lot of potentially good programs in the marketplace that would basically provide me with the solution that I wanted. But because of this issue, I didn't feel confident buying from them. And I started to call the CEOs of these companies, whom I had the ability to call them. I'm the buyer, and I'd call them up and I'd say, hey, look, your guys were just here, good dudes, but I'm not going to buy from you because, and I'd explain why. I'd say, look, your guys were just here and, I'm not going to buy from you. And here's why. And I would explain like the experience I had. And this was in many ways a very jarring and valuable conversation. What buyer ever calls the CEO and says the experiences? But I was interested in this. I was fascinated by it because I saw that this problem was pervasive. And I wanted the CEO to say, look, you're this close, man. You got this great product, right? But I got to tell you, there's a thing going on with your company right now that has me think this is going to have an impact on me. What's going to happen now when I become a customer? Is that going to be different? Like now all of a sudden, is that experience going to be the same? And I can't make that risk. So as you could probably imagine, a lot of these founders and CEOs were like thrilled to get this call. This is very insightful for them. They'd say, can we talk? I'd like to ask you more questions about this. I don't get these kind of insights from people. And I said, sure. And so what ended up happening was I started getting hired by them as a consultant to help them solve this problem. And they said, look, we don't really get this sort of perspective from people who are in a position you're in. So what should we do about it?